A new world order, trade in transition. The global trade system, for decades a symbol of interconnectedness and progress, is undergoing a fundamental transformation. This transformation is not just a minor adjustment, but a seismic shift that will redefine how nations interact and trade with each other. At the heart of this shift is the United States, a nation that once championed free trade and globalization. The US played a pivotal role in establishing the rules and norms that governed international trade for much of the 20th and early 21st centuries. The US is stepping back from its role as the guarantor of global trade, a position it held for decades. This retreat is not just a policy change, but a reflection of deeper economic and political shifts within the country. This retreat has profound implications for the global economy and the balance of power. As the US redefines its role, other nations are stepping in to fill the void, leading to a more multipolar world. Understanding the reasons behind this shift requires a historical perspective, one that delves into the origins of the current system and the forces now reshaping it. The evolution of trade agreements, the rise of new economic powers, and the changing geopolitical landscape all play a part. The world is entering uncharted territory, and the consequences of this shift are likely to be far-reaching. Businesses, governments, and individuals must all adapt to this new reality, navigating the complexities of a rapidly changing global trade environment. The Cold War's economic battlefield. The current global trade system is not an accident of history. It was meticulously crafted by the United States during the Cold War. Facing the existential threat of the Soviet Union, the US embarked on a grand strategy to contain communism and secure its own economic dominance. Trade became a weapon in this ideological struggle. The US used its economic might to build a network of alliances, fostering economic interdependence among capitalist nations. This system served multiple purposes. It strengthened ties between the US and its allies, provided access to vital resources, and created markets for American goods. America's shifting priorities. The Cold War is over, and the world has changed dramatically. The fall of the Berlin Wall symbolized the end of an era, ushering in a new global order. The Soviet Union, once a formidable adversary, no longer exists. Its dissolution marked a significant shift in global power dynamics. Globalization, once a tool to contain communism, has morphed into a force that often undermines American workers and industries. Factories have closed and jobs have moved overseas, leaving many American communities struggling. The rise of China as an economic powerhouse presents new challenges to American dominance. China's rapid industrialization and technological advancements have shifted the balance of power. China, with its vast manufacturing capacity and growing technological prowess, is no longer content to play by the rules of the existing order. It seeks to redefine global norms and assert its influence on the world stage. These shifts in the global landscape have prompted a reassessment of American priorities. Policymakers in Washington are now grappling with how to respond to these new realities. The US is increasingly focused on protecting its own interests, even if it means stepping back from its role as the guarantor of global trade. This shift reflects a broader trend towards prioritizing national security and economic resilience. The demographic time bomb. Adding further complexity to this geopolitical puzzle is a demographic time bomb ticking away in the developed world. Birth rates are plummeting across North America, Europe, and East Asia. This demographic decline has profound economic implications. A shrinking workforce leads to labor shortages, wage inflation, and slower economic growth. These demographic trends are already being felt. Japan, with its rapidly aging population, has struggled with economic stagnation for decades. Europe faces similar challenges, as does the United States, though to a lesser extent. These demographic realities are forcing nations to rethink their economic models. Section 5. The end of cheap labor. For decades, the global economy has benefited from a seemingly endless supply of cheap labor, primarily from developing countries. This labour force has been the backbone of many industries, providing the manpower needed to produce goods at low costs. But this era is coming to an end. The landscape of global labour is shifting dramatically. As developing nations modernise and their populations age, the pool of cheap labour is shrinking. Younger generations are seeking better opportunities, and the ageing workforce is retiring. This shift will have profound implications for global trade and manufacturing. Companies will need to adapt to these changes, finding new ways to maintain their production levels and manage costs. The days of sourcing cheap goods from far-flung corners of the world are numbered. The traditional model of offshoring production to save on labour costs is becoming less viable. Companies are already rethinking their supply chains, looking for ways to produce goods closer to home. This shift not only reduces dependency on distant labour markets, but also shortens supply chains, making them more resilient. This trend will accelerate in the coming years, leading to a reorganization of the global factory. Automation and advanced manufacturing technologies will play a crucial role in this transformation, enabling companies to produce more efficiently and closer to their customer base. Section 6. Reorganizing the global factory. The global factory, once characterized by sprawling supply chains that crisscross the globe, is being reimagined. The era of globalization, with its emphasis on efficiency and low costs, is giving way to a new era of regionalization. Companies are shortening their supply chains, bringing production closer to consumers. This shift is driven by a confluence of factors, including rising labor costs in developing countries, geopolitical instability, and the growing importance of speed and flexibility in manufacturing. This reorganization of the global factory will have profound implications for global trade patterns, investment flows, and economic power. Section 7. Regionalization, the future of trade. As the global trade system fragments, regionalization is emerging as a dominant trend. Nations are forging closer economic ties with their neighbours, creating regional trading blocs that prioritize self-sufficiency and resilience. This shift is driven by a desire to reduce dependence on distant suppliers, mitigate geopolitical risks, and promote domestic industries. The rise of regionalization represents a fundamental challenge to the existing global trade order, one that is likely to reshape the global economy in the coming decades. Section 8. Navigating the unknown, challenges and opportunities. The unravelling of the global trade system presents both challenges and opportunities. For nations accustomed to the benefits of free trade, the transition to a more regionalized world will require adaptation and innovation. Those that can successfully navigate this shift will be well positioned to thrive in the new economic order. The challenges are significant, but so too are the opportunities. A more regionalized world could lead to greater economic diversification, increased resilience, and a more equitable distribution of wealth. Section 9. A world transformed, the future of the global order. The world is entering a period of profound transformation, one that will reshape the global order as we know it. The decline of American hegemony, the rise of regional powers, and the demographic time bomb are converging to create a new geopolitical landscape. The global trade system, once a symbol of interconnectedness and progress, is fracturing. In its place, a more regionalized and fragmented world is emerging. The implications of these trends are